Are you making a mistake in your 401k that you are not aware about? In this video, I'm going to share the 3 biggest 401k mistakes that I've seen people make. And I'm going to give a bonus tip at the end. Mistake number 1, leaving it up to chance. There's 2 things that you might be leaving up to chance. First thing is the amount that you are contributing to your 401k. And the second thing is, how is your 401k contributions being invested? Did you choose those 2 things actively, or did you just let your employer, your HR, decide for you? Because sometimes there's a default option in terms of how much they're gonna take from your paycheck and where it's gonna go. Ideally, you wanna be able to know, okay, if I contribute this amount in my 401k, it's gonna grow to whatever, 1 million or 2 million, whatever it is your target amount is. And after that, I'm gonna retire and I'm gonna be able to travel twice a year to different parts of the country or the world. So ideally, it's an intentional decision, right? In terms of how much you decide to contribute and not just leave it up to chance. The second thing is how your contributions are being invested. Sometimes your employer has a default option. If you didn't choose a specific set of funds, maybe they're just gonna put it in a target date fund, which might be a good thing, but might necessarily be optimal because maybe that particular target date fund has a higher fee. Maybe that particular fund is too aggressive for you, right? And in my old nonprofit organization I used to work at, the default option was actually the money market. And if you didn't change anything, it's just gonna be in cash sitting there for the next years or decades without really growing. So you wanna be intentional in terms of how much you're putting in and how you're investing your 401k contributions, which is essentially your future money. Mistake number 2, focusing on past performance. I still remember vividly, I was having lunch with one of my former coworkers while I was still working at that nonprofit that I used to work at in Washington, D.C. And she was excited. She was sharing how she just signed up for 401k, 403b. And I asked her, okay, that's great. How did you choose where your 401k contributions are gonna be invested? And she was like, oh, it's really easy. I sat down and looked at all the 401k fund options, and I just chose the funds that performed really well in the past 5 years or 10 years. So in one sense, it was pretty intuitive for her to do that, right? Because she wants to pick winners. We all want to pick winners. But sometimes in life, that doesn't really apply. So, for example, in basketball, right? I used to follow the NBA a lot. 2018, Golden State Warriors dominated the league. They were NBA champions. Going into 2019, a lot of people still thought they were gonna do a three-peat. They were up against the Toronto Raptors, who was really untested, right? But lo and behold, Golden State Warriors lost, the Raptors won. And it's the same with investing. It's when you look at the past performance of these 401k funds, it's almost like driving while looking at the rear view mirror, right? When you're driving, you always want to look forward. In investing, sometimes it's actually cyclical and you might be misled by past performance data. So for example, in this graph, you can see that over several years, data since 1970, there have been periods where US stocks have outperformed, and there have been periods when foreign stocks or international stocks or companies outperform. So don't focus too much on past performance because oftentimes it doesn't really tell you anything. Mistake number 3, diversifying across too many funds. We all know that diversification is important, right? We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. So let me tell you another story about another former coworker of mine in the same nonprofit, where she was also signing up for a 401k, and she was like, hey Alvin, can you come take a look at this for a second? I'm about to submit my 401k allocation. And the way she did it, because in her mind she knew that it was important to diversify, she just chose like 10 or 15 funds and just put equal amounts in each, right, as a way to have a diversified fund. And if you do that, you're likely going to select funds that are good, and you're also going to end up most likely selecting funds that are not as good because you're just randomly picking. More importantly, worse, your percentage of stocks and bonds are just going to be completely random because you chose random funds. If ideally, for example, if you're in your 30s or your 40s, and if you've had a 401k or IRA in early 2020 and during the March 2020 correction where stocks dove by as much as 30% and you remain steadfast, then you're probably okay with having a high percentage of your 401k in stocks. So that's being intentional, right? And you don't want to randomly pick stocks in the name of diversification. And this is really when the value of a financial planner comes in, because he or she can guide you in terms of how you can select which 401k funds you're going to select in and how much you can or should contribute to your 401k. Here comes our bonus tip. Another big mistake that you might be doing in your 401k is ignoring the Roth 401k option. What do I mean by that? When you are selecting how much to contribute to your 401k, you actually most likely, this doesn't apply to all 401ks, but for the most part, you have the option to contribute in a pre-tax manner, which means it's gonna be deducted from your taxes, however much you contribute to your 401k, or you can contribute to a Roth 401k option. And this is really a new development. Like 5 years ago, not a whole lot of companies were offering these Roth 401k options. And by the way, don't confuse this to a Roth IRA, because a 401k is one thing, an IRA is another thing. They're completely separate. But I'm talking about within your 401k, there's actually, or there might be, an option for you to contribute through a Roth option, a Roth 401k. And why do you want to even consider that? Because if you contribute to a Roth 401k, your money is going to be tax-free when you retire. So let's say over the course of the next 5 years, you put in, let's say, $80,000, and you double, triple, or quadruple that, you're not gonna pay taxes on the money that you make if you put them in a Roth 401k. Now, this is not for everyone. You need to examine whether your tax bracket now, is it gonna be lower or higher compared to your tax bracket when you retire. So that's gonna most likely determine whether or not it's best for you to contribute to a pre-tax 401k or it's best to contribute to a Roth 401k. And again, this is where the value of a financial planner comes in. If you would like me to create a video that will guide you on how to invest your 401k funds, please do let me know in the comments section. Lastly, if you have an old 401k, you recently moved jobs, or it's been a while since you moved jobs, but you have a 401k with your old employer and you're thinking of rolling it over to an IRA, to a rollover IRA, because you read somewhere that you should do that, stop and breathe and make sure you watch my video on rollover IRA, 3 reasons not to move it to a rollover IRA. Until next time.